Welcome to the Built Different podcast. Let's get it. Welcome everybody to the Built Different podcast. We have a special episode for you here on High and Inside. We're calling this one Mets Therapy. So I'm joined by loved co-host Wolfie, and we have a special guest, Miserable Mets Guy, on TikTok. There you go.
All right, Max, I got your pitch com set up here, so we're good to go.
What the fuck is pitch com? I have 3 Cy Youngs, 2 no-hitters, and I won a World Series with the Nationals!
No, it's so the other team doesn't steal your signs.
They can steal my signs all they want! They're not gonna hit the fucking ball! Get out of my face!
All right, Max. Yes, Ottavino's still in. I'm finally gonna get a fucking hit. Oh, God. Oh, no. What the fuck is that, dude? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh, dude, I need a fucking diaper. Fuck. Yeah. Yo, who's pitching tonight for the Mets? Some bum, right? Because Scherzer's still out?
I'm Max!
The fuck was that?
Fucking Scherzer! That's right, bitch boy! I'm back! You thought I wasn't coming back? I'm immortal! 3 Cy Youngs, 2 no-hitters in a World Series with the Nationals!
Yo, who's pitching tonight?
So as you guys can see there, this guy has 1 million likes on the TikTok, 17,000 followers, almost 18,000 followers. What's up, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Chilling, man. Mets fan since fucking 10 years old. You know, like everyone's like, yo, why are you a Mets fan? My mom took me to Shea Stadium, and that was it, man. I used to talk to Cliff Floyd in left field, and now I was big into filmmaking. Now I jumped into TikTok shit with the comedy skits, and it's blowing up in like less than 2 months. Those are the numbers I got. So doing my thing, man. Having some fun with the Mets.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man.
No, I thought, why not have a therapy session? Because listen, we're all decked out in some Mets gear, you know, but I can't wear this Mets jersey for too long. You guys know I'm a Nationals fan, so I gotta take this off. I gotta represent the real team in New York. You feel me? I know I'm a Nationals.
Oh, he did his.
But
He did us
I don't
dirty.
know.
Off, boys. I'll see you for the rest of
Oh man, I can't wear that. You kidding me? I can't wear
Did
that.
us dirty. Stu
the
got.
Just put on a Braves jersey.
He probably has
Man,
one. Do you have every jersey? Oh my god.
Oh no!
Oh my god,
If it was
bro.
like Jeter or Judge, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, you
A-Rod?
get a pass.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
So Wolfie, what makes you such a big Mets fan? Because I know we've had a few episodes of our normal podcast, but we've never opened up on your Mets fandom too much.
Yeah, no, I mean, my whole family was a Mets fan. Mom, dad, pops, mom, dad, brother. I mean, I've been a Mets fan since I can't even remember. Mike Piazza was one of my favorite players growing up. David Wright's always been a classic. DeGrom now. R.A. Dickey, which is actually the jersey I'm wearing.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite players ever, too. No, it's just like the Mets are like the underdogs. And, like, I feel like even, like, whether the teams I played for in real life or just things I've done, I've always been that, like, underdog fan. I guess, other than the Giants, they've been kind of the overdogs over the Jets, but that's another story. But, yeah, no, I've just always been a Mets fan. I like them. And even just, like, the Yankees in general, like, no one in my family other than, like, you know, friends here and there, like, were Yankee fans. So I always grew up around a Met culture. So, dude, Mets all the way.
That's right, baby.
Hell yeah.
Would you guys say that your favorite player is Luis Castillo, the second baseman?
Well, yeah,
Nah,
probably
man.
up to. No way.
Oh man, I'm gonna have so
I
much
kind of
fun.
phased him from my mind. Like, when I think of Luis Castillo, I think of the current guy. Now, I don't even think about that guy anymore.
No, that's why I said the
The
second.
fucking the pitcher we should have got.
Yeah, I don't even go down that route now. Actually, yeah, no, let's go down that route. It's up to you, Sax.
Yeah, do your thing, man. Like, yeah,
We're gonna get there. We're definitely gonna get there. So this is a therapy session. I got the Mets fans here, guys. So I want to go down like a small list of memories. You know, I want to get your guys' demons out so that you guys can fight them. You know, whatever you got to do. Because at the end of this, I just want you guys to be happy Mets fans. You know, I think life is too short to be miserable Mets fans. You know,
Yeah.
but if you're the right miserable Mets guy, you can blow up on TikTok. You know what I mean? So you know, sometimes being a miserable Mets guy is okay. So let's go down these things. You know, guy, it's okay if you guys have to cry. It's definitely okay. That's what therapy is for.
Got my tissues.
So number one, Ike Davis's Valley Fever.
Ooh. The Valley.
Number two, Ryan Church's Concussion Flight.
Jeez.
You're throwing it back. Like, I forgot about Ryan Church.
Number three, Yoenis Cespedes' ranch accident.
Oh God,
That
that
was
was
a rough
fresh in the memory still.
It's
That
still
was
there.
like
That's
Yep.
still there. But I feel
The
like
2007,
I,
which we'll talk about.
yeah, that was great. Willie Randolph years.
you know what it is too when like you bring up those names too. When I think someone like Ike Davis, it's crazy because he was one of those guys that like. I guess around the time the name kind of comes around, but it's not the same thing. But it's like, you know, like we had Linsanity at one point.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
with Ike Davis. It's like, I like Ike. That was the thing. And like now when you look at it, like years later, like, yo, it wasn't like, I don't like Ike anymore. like he was.
I
he
remember
was-
because, like I said,
like,
I
it's
live in New
weird.
York.
But it
Dude.
just it never progressed until like what we thought it was gonna be. He kind of almost reminds me of like a lesser like Lucas Duda at this point, which is
Dude, that, like Wolfie, that's the way I thought about Ike Davis. Like when I first saw him, I was like, this guy's the next big thing. You know, like he was popping
Yeah.
him. He had the swing, the stupid stance, but like he was, yeah, it was like I like Ike, and like he was. I was like, yo, this is. But how many times have we fucking said that as Mets fans? Like, oh, this is the next guy. This is the guy, and then it's,
every time.
I think you nailed it. It's like that's shittier fucking Lucas Duda. Like I don't even know like what happened. Like what happened to that guy? Like, besides,
Didn't he like go to the A's and like tried? Didn't he like pitch? Am I like forgetting something? Didn't he like come in a couple times and pitch as like a like something I don't even know, like blowout pitcher here and there? Like I
he
don't
might
even know.
he might have been, but like what? I forgot like why he sucked so bad at hit like out of nowhere. It was,
Yeah.
like, I think they started throwing him curveballs, like and he just couldn't hit the curve,
Yep.
and
For
it's
some reason, some eyesight story comes to mind, but I don't know exactly if that's like if I'm forgetting something. But yeah, no, it's like someone like figured him out, and then all of a sudden he went from like a decent, like you said, like holy shit, like maybe, which we do all the time. But nah, he just fell off the table, and it sucked because I kind of did like Ike at first, but
yeah,
it's another Met.
it'll go down in the book. Like I feel like Lucas Duda is more respected than Ike Davis was, but
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I
It's-
hate that a lot of people do give him that shit about the throw, which don't get me wrong, I was pissed off too. But there
Yeah.
were some good moments. Like, you know, he needed to give us some pop here and there. I'm not saying he's a top, like, guy at all, but like you said, definitely above Ike Davis.
yeah, Ike's just a forgotten Met at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
now that when you brought that name up, I kind of, you know, I had some flashbacks.
Yeah, that's a flashback name. That's one of them. Ike
Oh,
Davis.
Matt's hurting his back sleeping on a friend's couch during the 2015 pennant chase.
Yep. Yeah, that was bad.
Henry Mejia getting suspended 3 times for PEDs and then coming back as a Red Sox.
Ooh,
Yeah, that that was a
Yeah.
weird one because that was one of those ones that I was like surprised they gave him another chance after the second strike. Like, what was that? And like, I don't think he ever even amounted to anything after that. So it's like looking at the guys that got suspended for like 2 pops and like kept going, like or 3 pops. I don't know. That one was weird. I thought they gave him like they're like, oh, like just like a tap on the wrist. It's like, and he was nothing when he was.
No, I mean,
he
I
had-
think they
wasn't he-
suspended him for life, but then I think he came back like 2 years later or something and tried, or 3 years later and tried to like reinstate himself and somehow did.
But wasn't he like decent like with the Mets at first? Like
Yeah.
he's another name you throw out there like Ike Davis, and you're like, yo, forgot about this fucking guy. But
Yep.
then he had some good stuff, and then the PED shit popped up, and another guy was it's one of those fucking oh we got a
Just
guy here, and then he
He just
shoots
couldn't lay off.
Yeah.
Like,
he shoots.
Absolutely, yeah, and you're right. He was one of those guys that we came up and it was, another
He,
game.
he was hyped up. He was getting all, oh, we got Mejia, we got this fucking lockdown setup guy, whatever. You know, we could use him as a like.
Yep.
It never ends. With the list could go on and on with the fucking could have beens, but he's on the list too. I like hearing these names. It's actually fun. Like it's Henry
Especially
Mejia.
from that,
Syndergaard.
like 2009 era to like 2015, that like mix in there where we really sucked. Like there are some interesting names coming out of this list.
Oh,
So what about Syndergaard getting hand, foot, and mouth disease?
Yeah, well, that was weird too.
oh yeah, I
Oh,
forgot about that shit. There's so many
He was-
like.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big Syndergaard guy. It's not even just because he left the Mets. I don't know. To me, it was. I mean, he won us our only World Series game. I don't know. I don't know, Wolfie. I don't know if you're a big Syndergaard guy, but I think after he left,
Yeah, he was one of those guys that like I thought the idea of Thor was cool,
yeah,
but there was so many games that like it just seemed like he was either on it and dominant or he just like his head wasn't in it. And like you said, there like obviously this whole conversation what you just brought up, Saxby, but there's so many like weird things going on with him. And then obviously some injuries here. What he did when he left obviously doesn't help. Like when you think about it too, from the start of his career to now, what the hell is he gonna be in like 5 years? Are we gonna like see him as like a everyday like 2 to 3 pitcher? Is he ever gonna get back up to that good spot? Like not even just when he was with the Mets, but looking at it now, he's just like a really random career going on. Like it's there was one point, yeah, like you said, he was like Thor and oh my gosh, like dominant, but like now it's just like
now it's
I
like
can't
Bull.
I can't look at Thor as a Met from what he's been recently. It's just like everything's tainted now.
Yeah, and he kind of like, him dipping on the like. I get it. Like what he said about the Met. He's like, yeah, I left there. Obviously, he got more money from the Angels because the Angels spend like idiots. So he got more. You know the drill with them. So it's like
yeah.
they fucking the Rendon contract. I mean, they go down the list, and then they give Syndergaard 22 million. What he pitched 2 innings last year, so they give him 22 million. What was our offer? 17,
Yeah.
18. So he took the money. He's a Cali boy, I think, right? He's from Texas, but he loves the West Coast.
Yeah, that
But he was saying he was like, dude, I don't want to. We didn't have a GM. We didn't have fucking our manager. Buck wasn't here yet, so he bounced. So I get it, but at the same time, like he was like always like, oh, I want to be a Met. I can handle New York. I can do all this. And then he got Noah's Book Club, and then he turned into this fucking. It's you know like what he's not
so
he's weird. He's a weird dude.
strange. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
like
and granted, I'm not even saying like the persona of Thor is the same as this guy, but kind of almost like the way I feel about him in a way is almost, I mean, not as much, but it's almost similar to Michael Conforto now too, where it's like he left on like a weird note. Not the same Conforto I like more than Thor.
yeah, I like Conforto. He kept
But,
Conforto was he was always quiet. He did his thing, and
yeah,
obviously
exactly.
the World Series and stuff. I always liked him as a defender, but his that bats, man. He was one of those guys. Like he would be hot for a little bit, and then cold, and when he was cold, it was bad. Like
Yeah, yeah.
so.
I liked up until, I mean, it became so easy to hit off that guy. I mean, he became so complacent over time, and then he got injured, unfortunately. But yeah, back when he first came up after he was traded to you guys from the Blue Jays, yeah, that guy was a force to be reckoned with. I did not want to see that guy. Definitely did not want to see
When
that.
he was on, he was on. It's just that like you didn't know if it was like gonna be consistent enough.
Well, what about
Yeah.
lasting?
Last
Oh,
thing's
did you say Lasting's Millage? Your mic cut out for a second. Is that what you said?
yeah,
Lasting?
Oh wow, yo, that's that. Me and my brother bring that fucking name up all the time. Where it's like that. He is the one guy I think about when you bring up like top prospect, that was like the name that was everywhere. And I actually like wanted him to be good, but man, his antics and just his play after a while. But the one thing that was strange about that, unless I'm forgetting some sort of like major injury, is that he died. Like he didn't like go to any other league or down. He wasn't like a minor league guy like all the time. He didn't go to like Japan or anything. Like he was just done. Done.
Yeah, dude, he fell off, and like I got another name for you about these. Like, and there's another thing with these prospects. That's why I'm not a big prospect hugger because you never know. Like, I mean, remember Fernando Martinez, the most untouchable prospect ever?
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
we wouldn't trade him for nothing, and it turned out to be absolute dog shit. At least
Oh,
Millage came up, did his thing. The funny thing with Millage, bro, is I still play baseball. I play in men's senior league, rec ball, whatever the fuck it's called. So
nice.
I played in a tournament in Arizona, and we ended up signing the guy I played for. His team was from Minnesota, and he signed us up for like it wasn't the amateur league, it was the league where all the ex pros played in. So we got our ass fucking kicked, and I ended up facing dude. It was awful. It was first game we played DJ Carrasco. Remember DJ Carrasco from the Mets? Played two.
Yep. Absolutely.
He had a balk. I actually have a ball up here. I broke up his no hitter. I got a hit off him. Dude, he signed the ball for me and his manager gave me the ball. So I got a hit off a ex-major league pitcher who struck out Miguel Cabrera. So that was pretty cool. But Lastings Millage was in that fucking tournament.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he had I was playing third. He hit a ball so hard at me, I shit my pants. I somehow got it, and he hit it 120 miles per hour, whatever, you know. I got it on a hop, and he still almost beat that shit out. You know, I threw him out, and then next at bat, he hit like a grand slam, 500 feet center field, you know. But he's playing, he's playing against the. But it was funny seeing. I was like, yo, that's Lastings Millage. Like,
It's so random. It's
now
so
he's
cool though.
it is cool, but like,
It gets me mad though because like then you guys traded him to us and like he got better. I remember him being good, but then I remember him like doing really bad again, and then we traded him, and it just wasn't what we could have gotten. So
yeah, he was like Carlos fucking Carlos Gomez, and there's another one.
Oh.
Dude, we can go on for day. Yeah,
And you know what it is too, which is I'm the same exact way with you. I'm not a big prospect hugger, and I feel like in the last like 5 to 10 years, specifically the last 5, people on social media are so hyping up prospects all the time. I
yeah,
mean, dude, 15 years ago, you barely heard about guys as much as you hear them now. It's crazy. But the one guy that I always reference is how Rafael Montero was ranked so much higher than Jacob DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom
yeah,
was like a nothing prospect in our league. And
yeah.
look at him. Like, are
He's
you
just-
kidding
what
me?
he was,
Like,
I think he was a
yeah,
seventh round pick shortstop in college. You know, he's a
yeah.
relief pitcher. That's why with these prospects, it's like you get Brett Beatty, right? He's our number 2 prospect. You know, he comes up, he has good plate discipline, he can hit the ball, but then he can't fucking field for shit. You know, he looks like
Yeah.
absolute shit, and that's been his history is not being able to field. So now it's like, all right, that's your number 2 prospect, a guy that he can maybe hit a little bit, but can't field. And then you got Alvarez, who they're like, oh, he can hit bombs, but guess what? He's not good defensively. And then you got Pete Alonso, who is not good defensively. Like all these prospects, like why can't we just have an all-in-one, like good at fielding, good at hitting?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we can't trade these guys. Like I go to the Dodgers, right? They traded O'Neal Cruz and Yordan Alvarez, you know, and look at them now. They got Trey Turner, they got Freddie Freeman. We have the money to trade these prospects and replace them. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have that proven player over a guy like Beatty. You know, but the fan base online would freak out because they're being brainwashed by, you know, these are we can't get rid of these guys like Ronnie Mauricio, right? Even though he's a shortstop that
Oh,
we got Lindor for 10 years. Yeah, it's like they keep hyping these guys up, and it's I think it's going to be this year if we don't win the World Series, not trading some of these guys for a bullpen arm or a real DH, that everyday DH is baffling because everyone thinks Alvarez is going to come up and be, you know, like fucking who's the guy I just
yeah.
saw?
Mike
Yeah,
Piazza.
it's and then he'll be like Gary Sanchez. You know, like that's he can't play defense. Seriously, like that's who I think it's gonna be. He's gonna be a Gary Sanchez. Like can't play defense, but hits a couple bombs.
Oh, I'm never
And
gonna get that image out of my mind now. Every time someone brings it up, I'm gonna think of Gary Sanchez.
dude,
Oh man,
that's
it just instantly killed it for
I
me.
mean,
no,
I
that,
get I get what you mean. It's like, but that's what I think. That's what makes sports just so great. Because like as a Nationals fan, it's like we got to see the Bryce Harper and the Steven Strasburg and the Anthony Rendon, like those prospects work out. But then we also got the other side where we got Victor Robles, who's a piece of shit, and Carter Kieboom, who's a piece of shit, and
oh Carr, he was supposed to be big. Yeah, that guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
you never know. I mean, Harper, you knew, right? But now you look at Kelenic, right? We traded Kelenic. He was the next Mike Trout, and now like
Oh,
Julio Rodriguez, baby.
yeah, like but still, it's like so you never know with these prospects, man. Like, is Kelenic going to be something? Like everyone's like, oh, he's still got to give him time, got to give him time. But then you see these guys, O'Neal Cruz. He just hit a, I don't know if you saw that home run he just hit against us, Wolfie. That it was like 10 feet off the ground and went into the water. Like
Jesus.
this dude's hitting. He's got like 15 home runs already since being up. So like those guys that contribute immediately are like, you know, like Michael Harris of the Braves, and even the dude the Braves brought up from Double A. They're like, yeah, the who's that second baseman? Grissom, Vaughn
Gross.
Grissom.
Yeah,
Vaughn,
Grissom. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I saw. Oh, they're bringing up a Double A guy, Vaughn Grissom. I was like, this guy's gonna suck. Now he's a stud. So I don't know what's up with these prospects, but the Mets hugging the prospects has gotten a little out of control. Like where you can't get a reliever at the deadline, you get Michael Givens. It's and then you trade J.D. Davis and 3 prospects for fucking Darren Ruff. That's the most baffling move of the year to me.
Insane.
So I'll let you talk about that. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen from the Mets so far with Epler. And I think he signs people, right? He's good at signings. He's got Cohen's money. We make good signings, right? But when it comes to trades, he can't fucking trade. I don't know what it is. Like he got fleeced for Darren Ruff. Like, that's a fleecing.
Yep. Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. And you know what? That's an absolutely great point because you know what? I listen to sports radio all the time, WFAN specifically, and I always hear people call in and say, you know, what did Epler do? And everybody like tries to defend it and say, oh, well, you didn't say anything with Scherzer and
Yeah.
those signings. But you just brought up a good point. That's signings. That's not trades. Trades. The track record has not been good. I mean, dude, you gave up basically one guy for Vogelback, and Vogelback has done more in a week span than Darren Ruff has done this entire time he's been on the Mets. And I'm not saying like, oh, Daniel Vogelback, but
Yeah.
you gave up so much for Darren Ruff, who's
Yeah.
almost 40. Like he's on the bad side of 30.
Bro,
Like,
he's 36, and I think 2 years ago he was playing in Korea.
yeah,
He was
dude,
playing in
like,
Korea for 3 years, and it's like
And
even Vogel,
guys-
dude. Even
hitting
Vogel. Go ahead, sorry.
I said before he got to you guys, he was only hitting 216.
I mean, dude. Go ahead,
He
Wolfie.
was
Go
one
ahead.
of those guys that they said the split down the line. They're like, oh, but first lefties or first right. Like I hate that excuse. I
You guys
hate
traded
that
4
excuse.
players for him?
Yeah, we
Dude.
traded 4 players. You're telling me you
J.D.
couldn't?
Davis for Darren Ruff alone should have been enough.
That should have been like because I saw Davis's name. I was like, all right, well, okay, maybe we could. Because then when I saw the other 3 prospects, I was like, oh, now we don't have enough ammunition to go get another good bat. I was like, that's our bat. That's it. Because we need relief pitching. So I was like, all right, maybe they're building a package here for a maybe Chafin, maybe
Oh, that's so bad.
yeah, maybe I was like, it has to be some great reliever if we're gonna do this platoon dumb shit. Because he's good against right, he's good against left. I hate it. I hate that shit. I wanted JD Martinez at worst. I really wanted Josh Bell from the Nationals, switch hitter. That was my main guy.
Very underrated, Josh. Very underrated in his time.
Yeah, I wanted Josh Bell. Like if they got Josh Bell and Chafin, I'd be much more optimistic about the World Series this year. But now it's
Absolutely.
you put money on the table. I'm not taking them to even make the World Series. So it's right now with how the lineup and the bullpen. I don't know. Showalter's gonna have to get creative, but the
But
trade,
let
even trading Holderman, bro, we had a bullpen issue already.
I wasn't a fan of that at all. It's especially when you look at the prospects we traded for Ruff. It's like you couldn't have traded prospects for Vogelback at all. And like you said, you 4 guys. And the thing that I don't like is that the excuse they're going to use is that one guy, and I think it's like Schwar something. I can't remember his exact name, but the one guy, it was Anthony Schwarzak, I think, or something like that. The
Yeah.
one guy that we actually it wasn't Schwarzak. That was a relief pitcher we had back.
That was
But it
back
was
in
the
the
guy
day.
that. Yeah, the guy that we brought up though this year, and he gave up like 7 runs in the first inning, was one of the guys we actually traded for Ruff. So I know they're gonna use that excuse. It's like, he was shit anyway. You gave 4 guys. One of them is actually has proven to be decent at one time. Like J.D.
Yeah.
Davis wasn't bad at times. Years
No,
ago.
he
Wasn't having a good season, but you're talking about like Holderman and JD were guys they could have just bang right into the roster. Like,
Well,
and we
well-
got guys that are like, we can't even they're not doing anything.
well, dude, Holderman. I'd rather and Davis, of course, is tearing it up in San Francisco. Now he's got 5 homers. He hit one
Of
against. Yeah, he's ripping it, dude. He's fucking ripping. Dude, it never ends, man. And then the Holderman kid, I swear to God, like everyone. There's another thing people are saying. Oh, he only pitched in blowout games. Like I like the eye test. You know, when you watch a player, I played the game long enough. I watched the game long enough. He could pitch, man. He could hit his spots. He had good control. I was like, oh, he threw hard. I was like, all right, this guy's going to be a good reliever in the future. And then it's like, boom, Vogelback. I was like, all right, who we trade for him? I heard Holderman. I flipped out because dude, we needed. Because it's like at the end of the day, it was like a net negative. It's like we needed bullpen help, so we just traded a future guy that could be good down the road for Vogelback, who I didn't think would be. He had a good 2 weeks. Now he's looked like shit. And I was like, all right, we got Vogelback. Maybe that's not the end of it. I thought we'd still get maybe J.D. Martinez, Contreras. I still thought we would get somebody. And then when I saw Ruff, I was like, oh, there we go. I know what they're doing. I was like,
It's almost like the Wilpons are back. I don't even want to say
I
that,
am-
but like,
I am loving
Oh,
every
bro.
second of this. I cannot.
bro.
no,
I mean,
dude, this is therapy. Like, I like how you're just sitting there, like, listening to our problems because it's so true. And
So I
Holderman actually had a good track record.
wanna get a little bit deeper into this therapy session.
Yeah, go
Let's
for it.
So
rock.
kind of, I wanna
just
understand how it is that we got to this, like how we got so doubtful. So take me. I'm gonna make a cutoff point, which is gonna be the 2007 season, which was very horrible for you guys. But we're gonna talk about the before. You guys were crazy. Like I was looking at a couple of things while doing research. Like you guys won in '86, but Dwight Gooden missed the parade because he was at a crack house.
yeah. The old crack houses.
Like fights,
They were a
playing
Lenny Dykstra.
playing cards in the clubhouse.
Keith Hernandez smoking cigarettes in the dugout. I mean,
Just
yeah.
about to say that. Yeah.
What? Like,
Well, dude, that was what it was. And then what sucks is in the beginning of the year, we had this energy where, don't get me wrong, we weren't smoking cigarettes on the field, but you had this energy that they just weren't out of it. That 7-inning comeback, or excuse me, 7-run comeback against the Phillies was insane. Like, you kind of felt like you had that 86 magic where it's like, we're not out of it. And like you just said, like, why are we so doubtful? That's one of the reasons. It's because back in the day, you had this team that was so tough and gritty and, they're basically eating nails for breakfast and
yeah, man, all
kind
the
of in
story
that like
here is absolutely crazy.
Dude, they
And we
were
need that.
fighting. They were fighting everybody. That was a brawler team,
Right.
man. They went
Now
out.
it's-
They went out and won it, man. That team was wild. Like I didn't grow up watching them. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say that, but I've seen enough documentaries and heard enough stories, read about it so much that team, especially Lenny Dykstra, he's a nut job. I mean,
it still is.
they had some guys, Keith, Ron Darling. I guess Ron Darling was more like the, I don't know. My godfather always talks about Ron Darling because I met him once. He's like, yeah, did you tell him thanks for snitching on all the fucking guys? I guess Ron Darling was the one guy who didn't fucking party with everybody. He was like the nice guy, and he fucking
Yeah,
fucking
Giddy,
snitched.
giddy.
Yeah, I think he snitched on everybody and stuff. So I don't know, man.
I can see that.
Yeah. So, but
Sorry, Ron, if you're watching.
But no, if we're talking
Yeah.
about doubts, like you talking about doubts for this season.
No, like, because you guys have some real deep-rooted doubt in you guys, like some, deep-rooted frustration that, like, because for me, if I was a Mets fan, I would say, and I was talking to you about this earlier before the show, I would say that I wouldn't be worried because, yeah, us and the Braves would be going back and forth. But at the end of the day, I know we got a good team where if we did fall into the wild card, I'm okay with it because I'd feel confident in my team. But you guys really just doubt, man. Because if I'm going through a cold stretch, I want that out of the way before the playoffs.
Yeah,
Because I think you guys make the playoffs no matter what.
yeah, but we can't. You can't have a cold stretch when you're literally tied for first place. You know what I mean? So it's like we can't. We're too good of a team for that to happen. You know what I mean? And then the Braves are not. I don't know if the Braves will go on a cold stretch, but it doesn't look like it. Right now I'd say the Braves are. I'd say the Braves are a better overall team than the Mets. I don't know if you
I
agree with
think
me,
they
Wolf.
were even going into the season. I kind of felt like that a little bit.
Yeah, not even just on paper, not even just on paper, but I mean their starting pitchers have been great these last.
I don't bullpen at all.
Their bullpens, I think they use Minter a lot. They at least they picked up Iglesias. They got somebody, and then
Second back there, I think still too, right?
Matt. So they got some guys, but I mean their pitching's been, Freed's been obviously good. Morton's
They
always.
got Iglesias now.
That's what I'm saying. I just said Iglesias to
Oh,
go
yeah,
in
I'm sorry.
there.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like
No.
they put it together, and they got the Harris came up now. Vaughn Grissom. They're gonna get Ozzy Albies back. I mean
if Acuna, Ozzy, Riley, Swanson,
Olson.
Travis, Olson. I mean, dude,
Well, yeah,
overall,
dude.
like we're all Met fans. Like we're here, but like, dude, we can't deny the Braves are such a good team.
Dude, and we're forgetting they got two catchers, right? They got William Contreras also.
I was gonna say that was the other guy I was thinking of, which they've been using him as a DH at times too, and it's like
Because he's got
they're a
20,
good team.
he's got 20 something home runs. The guy could hit the ball. So it's like, and then you got Michael Harris comes up. Not even offensively, he's just a beast. You can't run on the guy.
That
so
kid is, man.
yeah. Then who's their left fielder? I'm trying to think I keep forgetting. I'm blanking here. It was what's his name? What's his name got hurt? Ozuna got the DUI, but he's still in the lineup. But they had who's the guy that got hurt? Duvall.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're just a
I
built.
forgot he's still there. Oh, they have Polanco too. Oh no, Rosario.
Eddie Rosario.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
Eddie Rosario too. And he had that eye problem, and he was kind of like screwing up in the beginning of the year, but he's been better since then, especially during this hot streak. So they have players, man.
Before you guys dig any deeper, tell me how it
Pull
felt
me out.
in 2000. What happened? Like, take me through 2000. Because I always hear about it from a Yankees point of view, but I never really hear too much about it from a Mets fan point of view.
Mets guy.
I mean, 2000 was 2000. I mean, what do we win? One game in that series? Was it two games? It's a long time ago. I'm trying to remember. All I remember is Piazza. He hit the ball of Rivera in the final game. He thought it was out to kind of extend that, but it was just short of a homer. But back then, man, I was young as hell. So my memories, my memories from that were, shot. But I was watching the Jeter documentary. Like I said, my wife's a Yankees fan, so I like Derek Jeter. You got to respect Derek Jeter. I liked him as a player, Yeah, so I was watching the documentary. He was talking about that series, and the Yankees were just loaded, man. They were a better team than the Mets, and they had the pitch. I was remembering the pitchers. And when you haven't seen something in so long, I was like, who the fuck were these guys? These starters. They had fucking Pet. They were loaded, man. They kicked their ass. I mean, it's that simple. And that was it for 2000, man.
You know what it is too about 2000? Because I admit to I was young. It's not as much about the ball play that I remember on the field. It's actually more of the off the field stuff where it was that ever since the Yankees beat us in 2000, it was like that classic. Now they have that. Oh, we beat you in the World Series. Like you're still like the little brother. So it wasn't even as much like because I was young. I was only like 6'7" maybe when that happened.
Yeah.
But like it was like more of the after effect of like to this day. It's still like we beat you in the World Series. I don't even like remember as much. It was just, I mean, I know Benitez just, god damn it, but like, it was just like looking at it, it's still that like that's why in the beginning of this year when the Yankees were on a tear and the Mets were on a tear, we always had that like, God, I wish we could beat them in the World Series kind of feeling like, especially when we played that first series against them and took 2 games. It was like, oh man, how great would that be to kind of like the redemption of 2000? So it wasn't even as much about like the teams themselves. It's just like that they still fucking have our number, and I hate that. It's like
Yeah.
obviously the 27 World Series, which I don't even care as much because half of them happened before we were even a team. But it's just that still they beat us, and that's more what bothered me than like anything else from what I remember from that series.
Yeah, I agree. It's just always going to be something like, oh, what happened in 2000? Remember 2000? It's like the 27 ring shit. It's like, well, what happened? What happened in 2000? Yeah, you beat the Mets. I was fucking 10 years old. Like, it was a long time ago. That's the thing with these Yankees. They haven't done shit in 13 years, So it's like,
Yeah, they haven't even been back.
they haven't been back. Like the Mets were there in 2015. Yeah, we didn't win it. I get it, but at least we went to the World. Yeah, so it's like at least we got to the World Series, and that's the Wilpon Mets. That's not the Cohen. So I was just shocked. I mean, without Cespedes, we don't get there. Murphy going off, but yeah, that World Series. I'm kind of switching pages here, but I didn't think we'd win that World Series against the Royals. I don't know how you felt. I mean, they just lost the year before in 7 games. Like the matchup on paper was brutal.
I wanna talk about the real gritty stuff like the 2007 collapse. Let's fast forward to there. In
Jesus.
2007, man, you guys at one point I believe were in first.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was,
absolutely.
73,
yeah, we were
75.
first. We had like a sick. I forgot how. I know we lost like 12 of the last 17 or something, like 12 out of 18.
Horrible.
12
Yeah,
out
we
of,
had the
what was it? 12? Was it 12 out of something? 12 out of 6? 12 out of 17 games? Something like that.
at least that. Yeah.
So, and the Phillies won that year. The old Jimmy Rollins squad.
Yeah, you got a shot. 12 out of 19.
Was it 12 out of 19? Yeah, lost our
Yeah.
lost the final 12 out of 19.
You guys had Carlos Delgado, Jose Reyes, David Wright,
Yep.
Alou, Beltran, Sean Green made an appearance.
Sean Green. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Andy
suppose we could call that.
Chavez, Lastings Millage.
I'm not gonna lie, this is one of those years because I actually think this might have been the year David Wright was on the cover of MLB The Show, right? 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably his best
Around.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. So, but like looking at this roster, there's actually a lot of names on here that I think this World Mets guy remembers this well that were actually some good names. Obviously, Beltran, like you said, Wright. Delgado was a good one. One name though that I actually liked looking at our situation now is Paul
Oh,
LaDuca.
right.
I
Yeah,
actually
Paul-
like.
I love
I
Paul
was a big
Duca.
fan of him. Yeah, me too. Me
Yo.
too. And like, I wish we had that bat behind the plate now. So like, looking at this like roster, like, there was one guy, and granted, I'm not saying like he was gonna be like top prospect. He wasn't like that material. He actually kind of reminded me of Wilmer Flores. But there was one year Damian Easley had like a good stretch. He was actually.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, another
we had
guy.
Ruben Gotay, like Lastings Mulch was there. Jose Valentin, Andy Chavez, Ramon Castro was actually our backup.
Our
and I
catcher.
don't- Do you
Yeah.
remember his walk-up song?
I
know if you were
don't.
there.
I remember him, though. But
Yeah, his walk-up song was actually the Darth Vader theme song for some reason. Like
That's
the exact
wild.
one for Star Wars. I don't remember that. We had Julio Franco that year, Braves legend.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I guess Met legend.
Met legend.
Carlos Gomez, like you actually brought up earlier. Marlon Anderson, David Newhan. Oh my gosh, there are some names on this team that is. They were
Marlon-
actually a decent team though, because a lot of those guys were good players as a bench bat. And
Yeah,
we
Roll-
had like obviously studs on
Around
the field.
forever.
Yeah,
Jeez.
role players. Like Andy Chavez obviously had the big catch. Not that was in the World Series or that was in 2000, but it was he couldn't hit the ball. That was so they had
Yeah.
they had a bunch of role players, and then
Joe
I
It
think
reminded me of
it's
like a Juan Lagares, like in a way.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Lagares will give you that line drive single every now and then, but bringing back Paul LaDuca. In your opinion, do you think he's our best catcher that we've had? He has to be the best catcher we've had in the last 13 years, 14 years.
He's definitely the best catcher we've had. Like
Since
when he stopped playing to now, he was the best catcher.
so he's our
In the
last good.
yeah.
So he's our
Yes.
last good catcher from so 2007 till now. We haven't had a good.
Absolutely.
Okay, there we go. That's
I
great.
completely.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny too is that like when thank you Saxby for bringing this roster up, looking at these names and bringing up Paul LaDuca. That's I say that anytime everybody ever brings up Paul LaDuca is that I'm trying to think is that like maybe there was like a stretch
I
Travis.
thought it'd
had,
be
like,
Anthony
week.
Becker.
No, no,
God, dude. Because I was thinking like Josh Tolley wasn't good.
no.
Like we joked about John Buck that one April like he had.
He had a bunch of bombs, and then I mean, you could argue Darno because that one the World Series year
Yeah.
was all right. The World
That's the
Series.
only thing I can think of. Is Darno was the only one.
He had a,
McCann's been terrible. I mean, he is terrible.
yeah, he
He's
needs.
so bad.
He's not a major league player. Honestly, I swear by that. Even his defense, like everyone's like, yo, everyone's like, yo, his defense is great. His defense has not been good. It's not good.
And,
No.
and the thing is, too, he's one of those players that kind of, I mean, it happens a lot more now, I feel like, than men. But he's one of those players that just happened to have a solid year out of nowhere, which I think was also the year that everybody's hitting home runs.
Yeah, it's a
And
juice
He
ball.
just happened to bank on it. And it's like, God damn it, we fell for it. And just anytime he gets up to the plate, it's just like, oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what's going
honestly,
on.
like thinking about any catcher, though, we have had terrible catchers, and I hate that. I wish we just had a solid catcher, which is when we were talking about the trade deadline, quick Vogelback, and all that. Granted, they were asking for too much, so I get not pulling the trigger, even though
Yeah.
like, unless
Okay,
it was Alvarez, like maybe I would have pulled the trigger. Like Beatty's the only one out of that. Mauricio maybe would have.
Mauricio, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, can we just get like Contreras or someone that's a decent fucking catcher, or just bring up Alvarez? We have to bring him up next season. You get me all revved up on catchers now, there.
I know, dude, because you need one. I mean,
This is good. This is good stuff. This
But-
is
God,
good
this is
stuff.
No,
this is
they-
exactly why this is therapy. But,
bro,
no, yeah.
the catcher. So I was at the game where we beat the Dodgers when Timmy Trumpet was there. The second game.
Oh, you were there.
I was at that game. Yeah, I was with my
Oh,
buddy.
nice.
What was it, 2-1? Where Nimmo made that catch.
Yep.
I was walking around the field. We ended up sitting right where he made the catch. So I saw that right there. It was crazy.
Oh, that's sick.
But my buddy I was with plays fantasy baseball. He's like obsessed with this shit. He loves Will Smith, and dude, he's so underrated. I was looking at Will Smith as a catcher. His numbers, he had like 20 homers. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you
So solid.
how do you get it? Like, why can't we get a guy like that? Like a Will Smith, he can play defense. His 20 homers. His average is like 275, 80 RBIs. I'm like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
and
Dude,
it's
he's,
like,
when I think of top catchers, he's probably the first one that comes to mind because
He's-
of how much Real Muto fell off this year. But other than
Yeah.
like, dude,
Dude, 80 RBIs already, and the season's not over yet.
and you know what's crazy to think about? The guy that kind of fell off this year, which I don't understand how he did it last year, because last year was actually the dead ball era. To think about that Salvador Perez had like almost a 50 home run season last year is fucking insane. Where did that
Yeah.
come from?
steroids. Yeah,
Dude, is that an ACL injury? Like,
steroids.
no,
on it.
like, you're right. After all this, like,
Oh
give us
my
a
God.
fucking catcher. Which is what sucks about this Alvarez thing is that, like, I keep hearing about him, and
Yeah.
I swear to God, if he comes up and sucks, I'm gonna be so mad, and I'm never gonna hear about prospects again. He's
Yeah,
the
this is the last straw. I think Alvarez, like, dude,
Alvarez is the last hope
I'm a
for the
camel, and if
Mets.
I
Wow.
ought to break my fucking back. Like,
it's the last straw with the prospect bullshit. If Alvarez comes up, like Beatty, right?
Here
Beatty,
first,
Beatty,
folks.
Beatty comes up. He had a home run. He had another home run. He has good plate discipline, but for him not to be able to field, that's a huge red flag to me. You know, and that's been an issue with the minors. So it's like, are you gonna move him around now? What are you gonna do with this guy? You can't have him. He can't field. Like,
I got a perfect question for you.
go ahead.
Did you hear about Brett Beatty this year, or did you hear about Vaughn Grisham first? Like, what the fuck are we
I
talking about? Like, and
it's
I'm not saying Vaughn Grisham like isn't like obviously like he's doing good, but it's just like we're talking about these fucking prospects, and they come up and they just like, dude, the Braves are fucking pulling like strings, and every one of them are working, and we have a guy
that's
that's our
I've been
second best
here,
guy, and he can't do it.
bro. I've been hearing about Beatty since we drafted him. So I was like, you know,
Yeah,
you follow him, you're like, oh, I can't wait till Brett Beatty gets up here, blah blah blah. You see on Twitter in the minors, he's doing great, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then you hear about his defensive struggles, and then you see it in the games. Everyone's like, ah, it's early, he'll get better. He's been playing since he was fucking 4. So he's like, you tell me. So you tell me next year he's gonna turn into a fucking Gold Glover? Like he doesn't need to be a Gold Glover. He just needs to learn how to feel. Because dude, that's a
the
liability.
basics.
Like
Yeah,
just the base, and he couldn't even get that down. Like if that's been an issue in the minors, it's not gonna happen over.
No.
It's not gonna happen overnight in the majors. So I mean, Beatty's still a question mark to me as a prospect. And now Alvarez with his defensive questions already, you know, is he going to come up? And that's why I said Gary Sanchez, like a defensive liability that he might be a DH down the road. Who knows, man? Like, but yeah, I think Alvarez, he's like the next Fernando Martinez, where couldn't trade Martinez for anything. Couldn't trade. And then he came up and just sucked ass. Like he was. Did you? Like, could someone pull up that guy's not like? I got to look at this Fernando Martinez. Like, did he even play?
Let's talk about 2015. You guys lost to the Royals. In a previous podcast, my opinion on that, I already told you guys. I said that that was the World Series that the Mets lost, not the one that the Royals won. I thought you
Nah.
guys, I thought you guys should have won that one. I really
I
thought you guys should have
disagree.
won that one.
No,
Uh, you go ahead. Go ahead with
no,
that one. I
no,
mean,
no, no, no. You go, you go.
so
Miserable Mets fan. I mean,
You killed the kid. No,
this
you
is your
killed the
perfect
kid.
game.
You killed the kid.
So 2015, the Royals were just there. 2014, right? So they had the experience. They played the Blue Jays in the ALCS. I wanted the Blue Jays to win that shit so bad because they were a big swing and miss team. You know, we had Harvey, Syndergaard, DeGrom, Wheeler. It's ridiculous when you say this out loud. And Mats, I mean, he sucked, but you know we still had him as a fifth. And all the team, like that's why we beat the Cubs. They were swing and miss. We swept them. That's why the Dodgers that series. But the Royals, man, they're a team where I hate analytics and shit, but they didn't strike out. They put the ball in play. They played good defense. They were aggressive. They had just been in the World. They had the experience already. They had a great bullpen. So going into that World Series, I didn't think, you know, gun to my head, I didn't think we were going to win that World Series. Yeah, I didn't want to believe it until I saw, I think, the first 2 games, and I was like, these guys don't strike out. They weren't striking out against DeGrom, Syndergaard. They were putting the ball in play. It was the best fastball rate with contact, and that's what we lived by. You know, the blowing it past people, but they were on it. But yeah, I mean, Familia, you could say, I mean, statistically blew 3 saves, but I don't like. He gave it the homer to Alex Gordon, a guy who doesn't even hit fucking home runs. Hits a bomb to center field. The Lucas do to throw. I think I can't look it up now. I forgot. I think we had the lead in the 8th inning, like 3 of those games.
Yeah, we had a lead late in a bunch of them. Absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
Really blew a bunch of them. Which is actually crazy too when you bring up the
This is what therapy is all about, fellas.
when you bring up the rotation. There's actually one guy we forgot about, which actually I think came in for Wheeler, if I'm not mistaken, or was there, or Wheeler was hurt or something. It's actually Bartolo Colon.
Oh
We
shit.
actually had, we
Yeah.
And if you want to hear why this year is just insanity to me, is because, I mean, miserable Mets guy, you obviously know too, you Mets fan, is that you look at this lineup and it's like, how in the hell did we fucking go to the World Series? I mean, just to rattle off some names for the whole season, Travis d'Arnaud was a catcher that we had, and he played in the World Series and all that. He actually played almost 20 less games than Kevin Pilecki that year. Like, he played almost 80 games for the Mets that year, which is insanity to think about. We had Michael Kadire that year. We had
Yep.
Eric Campbell. Flores was basically like a main guy.
He
We
was a starter, yeah.
Yeah, we had Juan Lagares, Curtis Granderson. I did like. He was,
He was good. He
Ruben
lived up to.
Tejada, he was there. I mean, like, yeah, obviously Cespedes, Conforto. We actually got Juan Uribe, Kelly Johnson that year. But like looking at
Yep.
the team, like, and also to the Royals' defense, they went to the World Series the year before, lost, and came back and had to try to win it. So like they had like a lot of like energy to like win that because we were basically just like living on a prayer. Like the fact that we even got there, like Cespedes was great at the time. Don't get me wrong, but like you just said, like going into it, like it was almost like how the hell did we even get there? Let alone thinking about winning it.
That's exactly how I feel. Like we went on the hot run with Cespedes, right? And then also we forget Daniel Murphy's ridiculous
Yeah.
with seven home
Yeah.
seven. So when we got to the World
National
Series,
legend.
Nationals.
so when you get to the World Series, both those bats died out, and that was it, man. Like it was kind of a strike of luck to get to the World Series that year, in my opinion. Obviously, we had the pitching. Who was our closer that year? I'm trying to.
So I was gonna say, so we
It's
had
familiar. But well, did we mix it up?
yeah. So what it was Familia was kind of the main guy, but he was always shaky that year. But there's actually a Met legend that no one talks about ever anymore, and he was one of my favorite Met relievers, and we only had him for like a year or two. Is Addison Reed, and that was also when
Gotcha. Yeah.
we got Tyler Clippard too that year, and he did pretty solid.
Clippard.
But Addison Reed was our eighth inning guy, and he was fucking solid. He was one of probably the
I liked
best eighth
Reed.
inning guys we've ever had in Met history.
Yeah, Reed was the guy. But yeah, they kept flip flopping because they didn't trust Familia.
Yeah.
So it was like, but in the World Series, you got to figure that out. But Familia he sucked, man. Like he couldn't handle it. And yeah, the Royals, like I was pissed, but they were just a much better team. Like that's just what it was. They're a better overall team. Like I said, and their pitching staff. I mean, besides Cueto that year was like solid, Johnny Cueto. But then they had like Ventura, and it wasn't some elite staff like we had. It was just like good. Yeah, it was just like a good staff. And I think that year they had I forgot his
They
name.
had a monstrous bullpen.
Their bullpen was insane that year. I think they had Joaquin Soria, right? Wasn't he there in that bullpen?
They had Hochevar. They had Soria.
Was it Wade? It was the one. It was the one dude. Was it Wade Davis who was just untouchable?
Wade Davis. That's the guy I was thinking of. Yes, Wade Davis. Yes, he was insane. Their bullpen was so untouchable.
They had Herrera, Calvin Herrera.
Oh man, yeah, they're
dude. He was filthy.
Soria, Herrera, and Wade. Those three guys just destroyed.
Yeah, I mean you couldn't. They were just good. Hosmer was nasty. I mean they Perez. Trying to think of the lineup. Moustakas was still good then.
Lorenzo Cain was going off that year. They actually
Alex
had
Gordon.
Alex Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Salvador
it's a really good team. So it's at the end of the day, they beat us up. They did what they did what they had to do, and they were aggressive. Like that Lucas Duda throw, man. They're running, man. They're stealing it. And also Darno wasn't a good defensive catcher. So you knew they were running every time on that guy. So
they also Greg Holland and Ryan Madsen, by the way.
Yeah,
I think that was actually that might have been the year Greg Holland was.
Greg Holland was their closer.
Yeah, Holland was a closer, but I think the setup guy was like Davis, and he didn't give up a fucking run. So like,
dude, all of them were disgusting. It
was actually a guy the Mets had that year. He was always just a fan favorite to me, even though I never expected him to even be anything past the bench bat, which was Eric Young Jr. I always liked Eric Young Jr. He was always so cool, that speedy guy, but he wasn't like a Wilmer Forrest fan favorite, but he was just a guy I kind of liked. That was also the year we had John Mayberry Jr. to start off the year, so just to show you how crazy.
John Mayberry Jr. Yeah, I mean,
you guys both agree that you guys thought the Royals were the rightful winners, like they were supposed to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just played.
So
they were the better.
Why do you guys think that other fans, that aren't Mets fans, why do you think they often say that you guys should have beat the Royals? Why do you think, and what do you got to say to those people? This could be a defiant stand for Mets fans. This could be a very big point in our therapy.
I think they don't look at how maybe they might not fans might not be as into everything me and Wolfie, where I look at maybe they don't know they were just in the World Series. Maybe they don't know how good every bullpen player was. But they probably say, hey, what ifs, like the what ifs, like what if Familia didn't blow it in the eighth, or the Duda throw, right, or all that shit. So it's the excuses, and they're like, oh, we should have won. But at the end of the day, the Royals were a better team, man. They were better on paper. They're better statistically, and they played better baseball than us, and that was it.
So,
So I think we
So
have.
so that's
I wanna
really where
ask you
Wilmer
guys
kind of went over. But yeah.
some deeper questions, right? Because we're here at therapy. We're gonna wrap this up with a good old therapy session, all right? So I'm gonna ask you guys some questions. We're gonna get through this together, guys. I understand being a Mets fan is hard. It's miserable. See, I'm making a play on names now. But we're gonna get through this. So first off, guys, how do you view the Mets? Like, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you guys think of the Mets?
Wolfie, I'll let you go first. Yeah.
I feel like with the Mets, there's always like hope. It's never like an assured thing with the Mets, where it's like even when we get Scherzer, even when we get all these things, even where we're in first place, there's always that like I still have to hope we get there because there's always that past trauma that's back there that I'm like. I like,
I love.
and I love the Mets, dude. I got the Mets, got my jersey, like everything. You're decked out in Mets stuff too. Like we love the Mets, but there's always that like we know pain. So when I think about the Mets,
Pain?
I always think about the word hope, where it's like I
Hope.
hope we win. I don't think we're gonna like. No, that's not the way.
Hope.
When Jake's on the mound or Scherzer's on there, I think we're gonna win. It's just I hope. Like the word hope and Mets just go together for me.
It's a good point. Yeah, for me, like, obviously been through the same thing you fucking been through. So it's like, I think when Cohen came in, changed my mindset a little bit. Since we were with the Wilpons, what he said. He's gonna do whatever he can. He wants to be like the Dodgers. He wants to build a farm. Clearly, you see, he wants to build that fucking farm since he won't get rid of anybody. But I think he's staying true to what he said. He's like, I want to win a World Series within 5 years. It's year 2. And we're going to make the playoffs. We could win the NL East. Who knows what could happen the rest of the year. But like you said, I have hope that Cohen, being a fan of the Mets, and I feel like he wants to be loved, dude. Like with everyone, Uncle Steve, and he's got everything in the world, right? He's got the money. He's got $10 million paintings in his house. What else could he want besides to be that like savior of the Mets? So I feel like he'll do anything to win a World Series and be loved by everybody in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that nerdy guy. So like I feel like that's like he wants that. He wants to be the savior of the Mets.
Dude,
to be
we
like,
brought back the black jerseys. I mean, I'm wearing the hat right now.
no, Cohen's done a lot of good things for the Mets, man. Old Timers Day, I was at that. That was awesome. The statue was dope. I mean, I never watched Seaver pitch, but I can respect his, you know what I mean? So it's like he's making everything, the new LED screens. He took down the fucking Chick-fil-A signs. He's doing charity stuff. I mean, he's sticking to his word. The deadline, I can't be pissed at Cohen there. I mean, I think that's more Epler and Sandy, but if Cohen, one thing that got me with Cohen, it's like if you're such a fan of the team and he wants to win and beat the Dodgers, where is he? He's not stepping in and saying, "Hey, man," he's watching the same shit we are, but he's not like, this bullpen sucked before the season, and now it still sucks. I'm not gonna tell these guys to go fucking get a bullpen. I just want to see more like power from, like, obviously he has power, but for him to sit there and be like, because he loved Max Scherzer, bro.
We're uncovering some good stuff here.
Bro, he loves Max Scherzer. That's why we got Max Scherzer. That's one of the reasons he loved Max Scherzer. He always liked Max Scherzer. So I'm sure he had a lot. Yeah, I'm sure he had a lot to do with. He probably made a call to do whatever it takes to get Max Scherzer. So I just was hoping he would do something at the deadline. Like, fuck it, I'm going all in. But we got Buck. That was big.
Well, and it's
But
like
no,
you
I
with the Steve Cohen thing, it's like that's why I don't want people to like hear what I said and be like, "Oh, wow, you think of past trauma?" No, hope is exactly what I mean because I see Steve Cohen come in, like you said, doing these things.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, no matter what happens, no matter the collapses we've had, no matter the Luis Rojas era, or the Jerry Manuel era, like whatever, I still have hope no matter what.
So, what are the things or people on the Mets that are causing problems for you guys right now?
Um, Catcher position. And
How does it
I mean,
make you feel that you
the
guys still don't have the catcher position filled out yet?
I feel like
I
I've
mean,
rarely
dude,
seen in my life.
I feel like that's just been obviously since Paul LaDuca. It's not like Paul LaDuca was Mike Piazza offense. You know, it's like we just haven't had good catchers, and it's like how do you not figure this out? We did draft a Parada guy. You know, like so if Alvarez doesn't work out, people love this Parada kid. You know, he's a college catcher, Georgia Tech. You know, people love him. I don't know, but it's to me. I look at the bullpens, even before the season. When we lost Loop, I know Loop isn't doing good. That's how relievers are; they're hit or miss, right? Every year. So we let him walk for like 17 million over to the Angels. I think he has like a 6 ERA. But the year we had him, he was like .87 or some shit. It was like crazy. So to lose him, I was like, fuck, dude, we lost him. How does Cohen let that happen? And then honestly, a sleeper move that, you know, I know he's hurt right now, but getting rid of Miguel Castro, you know, for Joely Rodriguez. I know we needed a lefty, but he was never proven, Joely Rodriguez, and now you see he sucks, you know, and the bullpen just is a disaster. And I think, you know, it's a fucking disaster. And it's like I think they're gonna get creative. I think they're gonna try to get McGill in there. They're gonna have to throw one of these starters in there. You know, Joey Lucchese's doing some rehab starts. I don't know how you feel about him as a lefty. You
I like
know,
this. We're getting deep. We're getting
I mean, dude, it's if
finding
you
out the
The
issue.
name
The
I actually haven't
bullpen is
heard
the
in a
big
while.
issue.
who Joey Lucchese.
Yeah, I kind of. I mean, I knew it was still there, but it's been a while.
So that's just there. It is. That's it for me. Like the bullpen. That's gonna be the reason if we don't win the World Series. That's where I'm gonna point to the front office, the deadline, and the bullpen.
So when I think of
So we'll
three names specifically that are bringing down the Mets, now if you would have told me this like a year or two ago, I actually would have thought about like the energy of bringing it down because there were a lot of clubhouse problems with people taking over, like Mets fans getting thumbs down and all that stuff. There was actually like more emotional, mental problems, clubhouse problems. I guess would be the better word to use. But this year, when I think of problems, I think everybody's kind of tightened it on the team. The manager's good, but there are three people that stand out to me that are actual problems. Not even just the catcher position, but specifically James McCann. Like Nitto, I don't actually mind as much as for what he is. You see James McCann play, it almost is like he knows he's bad. It's like Nitto at least tries. Nitto actually leads the league in sacrifice bunts, which is not easy to do. But like he at least seems like he tries, and on Twitter he kind of even like laughs at his people joking on ragging on him. I can't remember what it was. There was this one video he was watching with Galorme that was talking about like him going to the All-Star game, and I think it was, and they were laughing at it. So like he's kind of likable. James McCann just, I swear to God, he thinks he's bad and just doesn't try it. It feels like. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know the guy. He's probably trying, but it just seems like he doesn't try. The other guy that is actually at this point bringing down the Mets, you talked about it earlier in the episode, is actually Billy Epler. He's making good off-season acquisitions, but when it comes to trades, he hasn't produced. Bringing in Vogelback and Naquin and Ruff and Givens was not what was going to change this team or push us over the edge. And I feel like he's actually more of a problem than some of the on-field stuff. Now, last, yes, the bullpen, but I'm going to go specifically with lefties like you brought up. Joely Rodriguez should not be here. And what's strange too is that actually Joely Rodriguez we got by trading Miguel Castro, which was like you said, which is strange. Like, why would you do that? And it's kind of weird too. Like that almost kind of reminds me of like, I mean, not as much, but it's like the Jordan Montgomery thing where it's like, why do the Yankees do that? It's kind of like us. Like, why do we do that? It made no sense. Like we could have signed someone in the offseason, especially Chafin, and we didn't, or Loop, and we didn't. And it's like, what are we doing? Like that made no sense. So when I think about it, yes, catcher, lefty, and I'm actually not even going to brag on the DH as much, but I'm going to go to the GM because It's his
All
fault.
right.
About all those
Well,
things.
dude, Wolfie, that brings up another bad trade by Epler right there. Castro for fucking Joely Rodriguez. He can never figure
Yeah,
this
that would have
out.
been him. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always a major league player for a major league player. Why can't you get rid of some prospects like for Joely Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I don't care if he's a lefty. Castro was a better relief pitcher overall.
Well,
He had good stuff. I mean, once the sticky shit went away, he was a little wild, but he still when he was with the Yankees, he was a little bit better than Joely. But Joely was not it. And like you said, why can't you just sign a fucking Chafin who went to Detroit? I'm sure he would have been fine in New York and got more money. So Billy Epler, it's gonna be questionable when we inevitably get bounced because of this bullpen on fucking what do you do with Billy Epler? Is Cohen really tied down to this guy, or does he want to bring in a Buck Showalter kind of guy? I forgot who they were talking about. Is it the Rays guy, or there's somebody available that I know they want? I forgot what organization it was, but he's actually a good fucking GM. I don't know who it is.
By the way, actually, when you think about it too, when you're talking about, oh yeah, I can't think of his name too. I know what you're talking about.
They're talking about somebody coming
Yeah.
in, a new guy.
But when you actually talk about that, yeah, because I kind of forgot that he was there for the Miguel Castro trade, and another
Yep.
trade that's actually swept under the rug. And I actually wanted to just look up some stats, but I kind of got into the rabbit hole of it. Is we actually traded for a catcher this trade deadline, which people actually forget. Saxby, I don't even know if you know this. We traded for a catcher at the deadline. We brought in Michael Perez from the Pittsburgh
Yeah.
Pirates as well.
isn't he injured?
So what's crazy is that so he actually
I like that pick.
Tommy Hunter was injured, came back from the DL, and they sent Perez to Syracuse.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about it, you're talking about the catcher you got at the deadline isn't even on the team. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
the more you talk about these trades, like, I'm actually starting.
Well,
Dude, you know what?
I
Going
wanna-
into
I
this
wanna
episode,
switch
I
this
didn't
up.
care about Billy Epler that much. Now I really am really starting to not like Billy Epler.
Now you're starting to see the
I
fucking
went like that. So this therapy is really
Making it
uncovering some things. So let me switch this up real quick, right? How does it feel when the Mets are winning?
it feels good, man. Like
Hold on to
especially-
that. Let's expand on it. How does it feel?
Feels deserved. It feels like we should be winning for once, especially like you said when we bring in Steve Cohen, who goes out and gets guys like Scherzer, and we have Pete and the Lindor contract, and DeGrom's back and Scherzer's here. Like it feels like finally we should be doing what we should have done 20 years ago. That's what it feels like when we win. It's almost like finally, like a relief.
Yeah, and I feel like Epler, he can't fucking trade. I think that's proven now. He sucks at it. But all the signings, for the most part, have worked out. Scherzer, I mean, he's been hurt, but I mean, Scherzer, Ottavino, Marte was amazing. That's my favorite player of the year so far this year. Can has been doing his thing. What was that, a 2-year, $27 million contract? I mean, you look at Canna. I mean, honestly, at this point, do you think Canna would be producing better than Conforto? Probably.
I mean,
You don't
I
think
didn't
so?
no. I'm saying I didn't see it coming.
I mean, so you get a cheaper option there in Canna that would produce. I mean, I don't know if he'd be better than Conforto this year, but the way it's looking, yeah, he would have. Canna tastes perfect. So who else you bring in? Escobar was another guy.
How do you feel when the Mets win? How do you feel when things are good for the Mets?
Makes me want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, no, it's a good feeling. I mean, like you said, we use the word hope. It gives you hope, man, because at the end of the day, it's a good team. It's a good fucking team. There's some holes.
This is good.
There's some holes though, but they'll be exposed. They'll be exposed in the playoffs, and they'll see it, and then they got to go address it. 'Cause at the end of the day, I was thinking about it the other day. Everyone's gonna be like, oh well, next year we'll pick up other players, but it's like Alonso's our first baseman, McNeil's our second baseman, Lindor's our shortstop. Third base will be Beatty until they figure out he can't play third. We got Marte for another 3 years. Nimmo, we got to extend him, right? And then left field, like, what other star could we bring here to really make this team better? You know, so it's like I'm trying to think,
Point. That's a really good point.
right? You know, so it's like this is kind of what we're stuck with, unless you no, we're not going to get Aaron Judge.
Could
We're
be
not going to
basically
get
DH, maybe some bullpen. It's almost like what our trade should have been, like
yeah.
our trade deadline moves.
Yeah, it's like you can go get a Wilson Contreras, but then you got Alvarez blocking that. So that's out of the question. So it's like you got to hope Alvarez is some superstar. And then what spot do you have? You have DH and left field, but you have Canna, and you know you could always use him as a bench bat. But he's a starting MLB player. So it's like, you know, I know they sit him now. He's 33, but it's like where are they really going to upgrade to make this team better than the Dodgers? You know, or you know, it's like where can they bring in a superstar? You know, I don't even know I don't know who's available. Obviously, Judge we know about, but we're not
Michael
going to.
Trey Turner,
No, but
second base.
yeah, I mean they got to get creative because that's it's gonna be the same lineup next year. Maybe one guy's different. You know, like I don't know who they could bring in as a DH because you're not gonna get a guy that plays a position that's just gonna want a DH unless you overpay like crazy, which we can. But you know what DH is out there? Nelson Cruz. You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's we're kind of stuck with it. We got to hope a prospect turns into a stud. We get a Michael Harris or so. I don't know. It's just.
So, do you feel right now? Do you feel sad, mad, hopeless, stuck, or something else?
Stuck. I'd say
Wolfie?
stuck. I don't know what to think right now.
You know what I feel, and I didn't feel it like a couple days ago, and I didn't feel it even during like their average stretches. But I'm starting to feel frustrated, where it's like
That's
we
yeah.
should be
Good.
winning these games. We shouldn't be worried about the Braves every single day. We should have did this at the deadline. It's starting to get a little frustrating. It's not Wilpon, it's frustrating. Hell
Do you
yeah.
feel disappointed, hurt, betrayed, lonely?
Wait, what was it again? Sorry.
I
I just
almost
saw them.
feel like lied to.
Like, do you guys?
Because especially with the deadline thing, with the we have so many arms out there to get. Like it's like, where are they?
No, yeah. I asked, do you feel disappointed, hurt, betrayed, lonely, or
I say
something else?
betrayed, like you said, Wolfie. Epler, after he got what happened? What was his
Straight
bullshit
up
about?
betrayed. Betrayed. Wow, you went into it.
Fuck no, it's fucking Epler when he was talking about getting relievers when we got rid of Holderman, right? He's like, oh, there's a robust amount of arms on the fucking market, and he went out and got Michael fucking Givens with 2 minutes left on the trade deadline. Like it was like Michael get a righty. I felt like he just like wanted anybody, so he's like, let's get Michael Givens,
Yep.
and I was like, all right, at least we got somebody. But now I see him pitch, and he sucks. Like I don't want to see him play. And he struck out a few guys today, but I mean he's just throwing fastballs down the middle. You know, it's not going to be good against when we play St. Louis or the fucking Dodgers or Braves. You know, it's betrayed, man. You can't say shit like that and not go get at least like me and you like Chafin, man. Why not go?
Oh,
And then his comments afterward. We were very close on getting a lefty, and the price was a little heavy. How heavy could a Chafin package be? How heavy could full even if you get Fulmer? So any of those three relievers from the Tigers, like or even grab two of them. I don't know. It was to me. No.
Wolfie,
no, I was gonna say
how often do the Mets being disappointing cross your mind during the day?
I'll say this: it's definitely calmed down since Steve Cohen has gotten in, and specifically this year, it hasn't happened. But it's getting to that point of we're getting to the end of the season. The playoffs are coming up, and it's always that classic, the Mets are going to collapse, or something like that. And I was actually one of those guys this year that said, dude, we're going so well. We're on pace to win 100 games. We're in first place. And part of me still feels like that. But then when you're starting to lose series to the Nationals, you're starting to lose games to the Pirates, the thought of disappointment is starting to cross my mind a tad. And it's to the point where that finish line is, I'm getting my legs are getting a little heavy and I'm getting a little tired getting there. But dude, the Mets is just It is. There are days, and they're getting a lot more plentiful that I'm starting to get a little disappointed.
So, miserable Mets guy,
Yeah.
how have you been coping with the problem that brought you into therapy? Well, how have you been coping with it?
By watching this fucking Brave score right now, it's
I'm
I don't
doing
know,
the
man.
same thing, man.
Bro, I mean, this is where they got it.
9-9, Zaxby. It's 9-9.
It's 9-9, bottom of the fifth, and this is what we're a team with 85 wins. We're gonna win 100 games, and we got a scoreboard watch every night. I'll be up all night until this game ends. Like, 'cause if they lose, I'll wake up tomorrow feeling a little bit better. Right? We're still up a game, right? We'll be still up a game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Just
And I
one.
think it's tied after
If we
this.
lose,
Are we tied right now?
If the Braves win, I think you guys are tied.
yeah. If they win, we're tied.
If they win, we're tied. But if they
If
lose, we're still up
still one. Yeah, I'm pretty
one. So I'll be if they lose tonight, I'll wake up tomorrow knowing we got a doubleheader. If we could win that, even though our bullpen's a fucking mess. I think that's why. Buck.
Yo, I'm glad we uncovered the real problem for you. It's the Mets bullpen. So that's good.
Oh, I
We've
fucking hate the
identified
Mets.
problem. We've identified the problem, and now I think we can cope with it a little bit better.
Dude, and that's why, bro. Before when I was talking to you before about who the fuck is this guy, I've never heard of him called up. This is another thing Buck does. He kind of knows not to when to throw the towel in, but he knows he kind of has a feel for if we're gonna lose a game. And he'll throw in like you've seen it before. He throws in these guys. Because he's waiting for the double header, right? So he threw in some guy I'd never heard of in my life today in like the sixth inning, and it was 4-0 at that time. So he's probably like, you know what, we don't have it today. I'm gonna use this guy, but he's probably thinking ahead to tomorrow's double header. So it's like, all right, who's pitching tomorrow for that double header? We got Scherzer and Bassett.
No, I think it's DeGrom.
Whoa.
Hold on, let's see what we got.
I think it's DeGrom Bassett, maybe, because isn't Scherzer skipping a start or
I was
something?
gonna say that might
I'm pretty
cause some
positive DeGrom's
orgasms
first
for
game
Mets
tomorrow.
fans.
It's Bassett game 1, DeGrom game 2. So yeah, that's got to be a sweet. You got to win both those. So if the Braves lose, the Mets win those two. I mean, at the end of the day, then the Braves could go ahead and win and still be one game. So it's like a fucking nightmare. Like every, you know,
Montas de Oca was the name you're looking for, by the way.
that's it. That was the guy.
That was it. Yeah.
Like, what are we
He told me
doing?
that guy was pitching. I tried to make sense of it and know who he was. Couldn't.
No, I
was like,
popped
yo-
it up, and it's like, yo,
I do
Oka's
have a good
pitching. I'm like, who the
question
hell's
here.
Oka? Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're playing
So
the
how do
Bears,
the
we gotta
Mets-
have like no one up?
Like Wolfie, where did they get him from? Like who is that guy?
I don't
I
even
never.
know. I didn't even hear that he was called up or anything.
I didn't. That's what I said. I was talking like, and I was talking to Zach. I was like, dude, who the fuck is this guy? I didn't get an alert that he got called up. I didn't hear.
They rolled
It's
into
just,
Pittsburgh and they found him like in the parking lot. They're like,
They pulled him off the stands.
We might need you today.
But no, honestly, I do think that. I think that was Buck's thinking, man. He's like, let me use my shit guys today, and go worry about that doubleheader tomorrow. You know, I think he's.
Look at
I-
the
It was a
guy.
good
Given
strategy. The Nationals did that through their World Series run.
Well, it's,
Literally,
Go
The
ahead.
Nationals would like against the Dodgers, especially if you paid any attention to that Nationals Dodgers series, like it was funny. We had our good relievers for one game, then he threw our bad relievers, and then our good relievers, and then our bad relievers, and then we just fucking threw everybody in Game 5.
Well, dude, it's smart because like you got Walker struggling, so he's like, all right, let me get these shitty guys ready if Walker sucks, which he did, which has now been a concern. I think he's given up 16 runs in his last 3 starts or something. Like he's fallen off a cliff, man. So Buck's probably like, you know what, DeGrom and Bassett, they're gonna go 7, right? They'll probably go 7, 6 at least. Then you get Ottavino, you got Lugo available, you got Diaz available. Let's go win these 2. I feel like Buck plays. He's not playing for sweeps. That's why we haven't swept a lot. He just wants to win these series and keep it moving. That's why he's so brilliant, and that's why he's a great manager. So it's just
So we found something about the Mets that we can latch on to, something that we can love, something that we can like about the Mets. We're getting somewhere. We're really getting somewhere.
no, like dude, this is shit that Rojas. This is shit that Rojas and these rookie guys wouldn't think of. You know what I mean? They wouldn't think, hey man, they'd go out and use Lugo today or and then we're fucked with DeGrom and Bassett starting. And Bassett's been on fire. I mean, did he have a bad game his last game? I think he gave up 2 or 3, but still pitched good.
I think I was gonna say, I think it was against the Dodgers, and he did pretty. I think he won the game.
So I
Yeah.
only got a couple questions left for this therapy session. You guys are doing really well.
Feeling better.
We're getting some. So how does this problem, being the Mets, affect how you feel about yourself?
I mean, right now, I don't see the Mets as a problem. I just feel like the Braves are making it a problem. You know what I'm saying? The Mets got the 3rd best record in baseball. It's just the
Okay, so
Braves.
good. We can deflect. We can now finally deflect our anguish and pain onto the Braves. This is good, because fuck the Braves. This is good.
I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, you put the Mets. I don't like doing this shit because a lot of people do it. But you put the Mets in any other division, and they're fucking a lot of games up. But we got the World Series champions.
Oh, the AL.
Respect. Yeah, but the AL Central. I mean, I think it was like multiple divisions. We'd have at least a 7-8 game lead. So the Mets right now, yeah, we lost 3 games to some shitty teams, but we still have 85 wins. We're having a good year, but as a fan, a true fan, we notice the holes. We know the bullpen sucks. I've been saying it all fucking episode. Vogelback, Naquin, rough, disaster. But we're still finding ways to win. But the Braves is what's. I feel like I wake up and I'm like, we're not as good as we. If we had a 7-game lead, I feel like I'd be like, okay, we lost to the Pirates. It happens. But now that the Braves are right up our ass, it's like, the Mets suck, man. They're not gonna fuck. We're gonna blow it. We're gonna, And it's just like I don't know, man. It's because one of these teams we're both probably gonna win 100 games, right? That's my guess. Close to it. One of us is going to the wild card. So someone's getting the shit end of the stick. And like I was saying, the wild card this year is now going to be a problem because you're going to burn out your starters in those first 3 games. If we get Scherzer, DeGrom, I think you get a day off between, and you go right to the NLDS. So then you have your number 3 versus their number 1.
Padres can really annoy your pitchers. A team like the Padres.
We've had some problems with the Padres this year. We're 2-4 against them, so
They're just an annoying line. I mean, like with Tatis not coming back, and so
I'm more concerned with.
they're just annoying, and that's something the Nets can't afford to face. Is like an annoying team that'll like burn out their pitching.
Well, I'm not concerned with the Padres' offense as much as their pitching. I think Darvish owned us. Snell didn't do. I think we knocked Snell out that one time. Joe Musgrove's filthy. I mean, they just have good pitching, man. So that's the thing with the NL. The NL's any team you play is gonna have a good 1, 2, 3. The AL doesn't really have that. Like besides the Astros. But even the Cardinals get in Montgomery. Now he's a fucking stud. So you got what's his name? You got Wainwright, Mikolas,
yeah.
and now you got Montgomery. So that's a good 1, 2, 3. Dodgers, the drill there. Padres, you're gonna get those 3 studs. Atlanta, you got 3 studs. Who am I missing here? Even Phillies. If we play the Phillies, if the Braves or Mets play the Phillies, you got Nola and Wheeler. It's 2 games right there. It's tough.
That's a fantastic thing, actually, when you think about that. If you take every NL team that could potentially make the wild card right now and stack them up with AL teams, it's not even fucking close. I mean,
It's a joke.
like you said,
Yeah.
other than the Astros, the Yankees top 3 are nothing. The Twins top 3, the Guardians top 3, the White Sox, God forbid, top 3. The Rays
They're coming.
have the Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays, I would say, are the closest, maybe, and even Toronto's not much. It's mostly Gosman. That's a fantastic.
Gosman,
Dude,
and then
it's a completely different thing with both leagues.
it's a whole different world in the NL, and I've been trying to say that. Like I've been saying before, it's every matchup in the playoffs in the NL is a team that could win the world. It's not the Phillies, but they still have they could beat us in a 2 out of 3. They could. Like, Wheeler could get to us. No, I know we've hit him. That's not going to happen every time though. So Wheeler could get to us, Nola could get to us. Then it could be a game 3, where it's because the Phillies offense is loaded with Harper coming back too. So,
Actually,
and
Harper now is their 3rd too.
Who?
Thor. They have Syndergaard.
Yeah, they got Cindy. Like, imagine him knocking us
Yes,
out.
there's
I mean,
Oh no,
it,
no, 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 no! Don't say that. Oh,
yeah, dude. I mean, it's
We all use different strategies to cope. Do you find yourself reaching for caffeine, drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, the internet, or something else to make you feel better when the Mets are losing?
I always drink Coke. I drink too many of them a day. Like I said, I don't drink anymore. I had too much fun, a little bit, way too much. Get what I'm saying here? And
Get what I'm saying here?
I got the nicotine. That's all I do these days.
yeah, I got the bogeys. Got a little drinks on the side, but
But yeah,
I'm
Coke
doing
is my new
actual Coke. No, I'm kidding.
yeah actual Coke.
All right, so
That's the Coke I do.
let's wrap this up. I think we've had a very good therapy session. We got a lot of
Feel
problems out there. You know, Wolfie, you now understand, some true hatred, towards Epler, miserable Mets guy. You know, you absolutely hate the bullpen. You've made that very clear. But we can deflect it onto the Braves because fuck the Braves. That is a very good conclusion. I honestly, this
Sick
is
of
Mets
them.
therapy. Fuck the Braves. Honestly,
Definitely.
for 1 minute, I think we should all just fucking hate the Braves.
Hold on. Oh well, 10-9 Braves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm scoring. You know what? Fuck the Braves. You
Yeah.
know why I'm going to say fuck the Braves? Because you actually look at how many World Series they've won since the Mets have actually been a fucking team. It's nothing compared to the Mets. I mean, what is it? One more? Like I think it's actually one. I think they've had 3 since the Mets have been a baseball team. So I'm so sick of them winning one World Series. And it's like all of a sudden they're God's gift to the earth. It's like, yo, you guys won like I think it was 16 divisions since 2000, and you have one World Series from it. Like I'm sick of
It
that.
sucks. It sucks because I loved making fun of the Braves. They were like the MLB's Cowboys.
Well, dude, the one thing
Yeah.
before we go, man, the one thing with the Braves is they're going to be a pain in the ass for years because they're smart. They're bringing up this talent. They signed Michael Harris to what 8-year deal for 80 million or some shit.
They release
Like
all their great.
they sign all their young talent. Austin Riley, Swanson. I think they signed Swanson, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Swanson's the only one unsigned.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
they got to
Or
get.
is it Riley?
They're talking a little.
Or is it Riley? I
That's
think it's
all.
Riley.
They already signed Riley.
Oh yeah.
They already got Harris locked up for a steal. They lose Freeman. Guess what? Come on, Matt Olson. Like they're built, man. Now they got Vaughn Grissom. They got the catcher. Even when Darnell, they got the Contreras kid. So I mean, they are built for the future. So they're gonna be a pain in the ass for a long time. So
Fuck 'em.
yeah, fuck them. I hate the Braves, especially like now that I'm on TikTok and I see all these Braves fans like talking shit. It's like, dude, I made fun of Acuna in one of my skits, and like you would think like they're dating the guy. Like it's like always like it's a joke. I do comedy skits. It's hilarious, man. Like
They get
and
ripped up.
they get revved up over Acuna, man. Like it's crazy.
So we're gonna end this with each and every one of ours favorite Mets moment and least favorite Mets moment. So my least favorite Mets moment was when you guys signed Max Scherzer. I think that was very rude. I think it was very inconsiderate.
Very rude.
I definitely think that you guys kind of reached with that one. You guys could have let him go anywhere else, but you guys had to stick your nose where it didn't belong. We did it with Murphy, so I guess it's kind of even. Whatever. But I think my favorite Mets moment. Oh man. Honestly, I think my favorite Mets moment was that time that the Nationals came back from being down like what was it, like 6 runs in the ninth inning in 2019, and then we came all the way back and Kurt Suzuki hit the walk-off home run. Yeah, it's that moment because that was the moment where the Mets were officially done and the Nats were officially here. It was good. That was good. That was good stuff.
Sounds about right.
I love the Mets
2019.
for that.
Yeah. No, my favorite. I'll probably have to go back in the day. It's more like meaningful, wholesome shit. But it was when we were down. I was at the game at Shea, with Piazza. Piazza's my favorite player of all time. So yeah, Piazza, and I think we were down. It was against the fucking Braves, down 8-1. You remember this game? 8th inning, down 8-1. We had an eight run the 7-run eighth, and then the ninth, Piazza hit the walk-off homer
Yep.
to left field. I was at that game, so that's one of my favorites. But also, I think the 9/11 homer. I got that picture right there hanging on my wall, signed.
Oh,
Like,
that's awesome.
yeah, man, that was one of my favorite moments. Least favorite. Yeah, I mean, getting Steve Cohen's big too, but least favorite. Probably Beltron striking out, looking.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah,
2006 NLCS to the Cardinals. That's probably
always the Cardinals.
that's the one that probably stings. No, yeah, that one or the Connor Gillespie homer in the wild card. 2016. I was at the game, so yeah.
Good points. I would have to say my favorite moment is also like one I've been at. It was actually against the Nationals. Go figure, Saxby. So I'll rebound with you. It was 2015 year. We went to the World Series. I actually went to
Yeah.
the game. It was a couple games after the Wilmer Flores trade got canceled when he was crying on the field, and it was the game where the Mets actually tied first place after the win. It was when Curtis Granderson hit a home run, Murphy hit a home run, then Cespedes hit a single, and then Duda hit a home run, and it was just all within like 5 minutes. Like it was so quick, and they took the lead, and it was a ties division, and then obviously went to the World Series that year. So that was probably my favorite moment, personally. Just to try to change it up a little bit, actually, because that Beltran thing was a good take. And we also talked about the other one in the beginning, which was the Castillo drop ball. That's probably one of the worst moments I remember. But you know what? To try to give a different take, a recent take. You know what's actually one of my least favorite Met moments is the whole Cespedes ordeal. Like we had a dude that basically led us to the World Series. Obviously, Murphy did great in the playoffs, and we gave him a contract. And it was like, holy shit, we got this guy for a few years. Me and everybody else are wearing yellow bands on our arms, and all of a sudden, he just disappeared off of the face of the earth, and just didn't play anymore. And that was just a waste of a deal. And you don't even think about him really much anymore, other than that one season. And it's like that sucked, man. Like. Obviously, like said, the strikeout, the pop out, but that's one of my actually least favorite Met moments in recent history.
I think he gets a pass for that from a lot of fans. Even me, like I don't really think about it too much, but I think people are just so blinded by what he did that year to get us to the World Series. For me, like it was what it was. Like we got him for that. Obviously, we wanted him to be good after that, but
Then he came back in 2020 and just quit.
yeah,
And that's the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, that's definitely not my least favorite moment, but just to try to change it up a little bit. And,
This
things
dude
I was
showed up to
disappointed
work and
about.
just quit that day.
But,
Oh man. So that what do you guys have anything, left you want to say? Anything you guys want, any final takes?
my
I
final
think this
take
was
is
a good therapy session.
hopefully next week we come back and it's a completely different story, and we just won the series against the Pirates, and we won the series against the Marlins, and we come back and all
Yeah.
of a sudden Atlanta's on like a 3-game losing streak or something like that.
yeah. I mean, I'm on the same boat. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Sweep that doubleheader. I feel a lot better, even if the Braves win today. So
Wolfie, you better hope. You better goddamn hope the Mets come out of while we're doing that podcast. You
See?
better hope the Mets are
See,
in the league.
that's what I'm saying. We just lost a series to the Nationals. We just lost tonight to the Pirates, and what are we still doing? Next week we're talking about what we're sweeping the doubleheader, and we're gonna be still in first place. So hope's the name of the game.
Hope. There it
Yeah.
is. We're putting it on the screen. Hope.
hope, baby.
And with that, that is another episode of High and Inside, this time a special edition episode here on the Built Different podcast. Make sure you guys go follow Miserable Mets Guy on TikTok. He's blowing up. He's the next big thing. Gonna be good. Do you want to plug your Instagram as well while you're at it? I don't know if it's a different ad or if it's the same ad.
Same thing, miserable Mets guy. Instagram, but TikTok's the main platform I'm using now, so stick with that.
Hell yeah. And with that, this was a great episode, great therapy session. I think I'm about to go get my therapy degree. Everybody, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, follow, sell your soul to us, whatever you got to do. Just don't do anything crazy. Have a good night. Peace. Let's get it.